présentation de l'équipe visiteur pour ce match. Here's the visiting team for the skate. Le centre numéro 16, batting first, playing center field, number 16 for Team Greece, Georgia Polidoros. Au deuxième rang, jouant troisième but, numéro 27, batting second, playing third base, number 27, Zoe Stavros. En troisième, jouant au deuxième but, numéro 13, batting third, playing second base, number 13, Brianna Mikasa. The one at the end of the one, numéro 15, batting fourth, right field, number 15, Maria Zepeda. En cinquième, vote sur le rouge, numéro 20, batting fifth, left field, number 20, Olivia Pass. En sixième, jouant very good, numéro 33, batting sixth, playing shortstop, number 33, Zoe Mialopoulos. Au septième rang, jouant numéro 21, batting seventh, playing first base, number 21, Nicole Raquel. En huitième, lanceur numéro 2, batting eighth, pitcher number 2, Julia Kostekakos. En neuvième, receveur numéro 10, batting ninth, pitcher number 10, Kate Paramousis. En position flex numéro 17, in the flex position number 17, Lauren Stavros. Et substitue the alternates numéro 9, number 9, Sydney Stafford. Numéro 1, number 1, Chelsea Runyon. Numéro 23, number 23, Kyle Benz. Numéro 7, number 7, Molly Collender. Team Greece. Voici l'équipe locale pour ce match. Eux home team de this game, TC Colorado. Devant première, vote sur le centre, numéro 21. Batting first, playing center field, number 21, Mackenzie Wilson. Au deuxième, on va aller court, numéro 44, batting second, shortstop, number 44, Talon Edwards. En troisième, receveur numéro 14, batting third, catcher number 14, Reese Atwood. Au quatrième rang, jouant premier but, numéro 20, batting fourth, playing first base, number 20, Hannah Gamble. En cinquième, jouant troisième but, numéro 0, batting fifth, playing third base, number 00, Jackie Lees. En sixième, joueuse désignée numéro 2, batting sixth, designated player number 2, Sarah Gordon. Au septième rang, joueur deuxième but, numéro 47, batting seventh, playing second base, number 47, Haley Morrow. En huitième, vote sur le droit, numéro 3, batting eighth, playing right field, number 3, Kaylee Wyckoff. En neuvième, vote sur le gauche, numéro 1, batting ninth, left field, number 1, Jaleel Lassiter. Au dixième rang, lanceur en position flex numéro 11, in the flex position, pitching number 11, Kirsten Beal. The substitute, the alternate, numéro 22, number 22, Nikki McGaffin. Numéro 23, number 23, Carlin Pickens. Numéro 4, number 4, Jessica Mullins. Numéro 17, number 19, Cassidy Curd. Numéro 8, number 8, Mariah Lopez. Numéro 7, number 7, Courtney Coppersmith. Numéro 12, number 12, Erin Koppel. Numéro 13, number 13, Anika Coffey. Numéro 28, number 28, Colin Petchcock. Team TC Colorado. Les arbitres pour ce match numéro sur this game, Rob at home plate, James English. Au premier but, at first base, Adam McAloney. Au deuxième but, at second base, Mike Senchuk. Au troisième but, at third base, Nicolas Olivier. Mesdames et messieurs, veuillez maintenant vous lever si vous en êtes capable de retirer chapeaux et casquettes pour l'interprétation des hymnes nationaux de la Grèce et des États-Unis d'Amérique. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise if you are able to remove your hats and caps for the national anthems of Greece and the United States of America. much. Best of luck to both teams. Have a great game.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the final day of the round robin, game number 2 of the day, matching 5-1 Triple Crown Colorado against Team Greece, still in search of their first win of the Canada Cup. It's a very young Greek team that participated in the European Championships last summer under the guidance of Tony Foti. Shan McDonald is their terrific pitching coach. And Triple Crown Colorado found themselves in a very tough game. As another great day, not a cloud in the sky as we bring in, and we expect a great day of softball. And the highlight game comes your way tonight at 6 when 6-0 Japan, the reigning gold medalists, play 5-1 Team Canada. Here is David King's Triple Crown starting batting lineup. They will take to the field first, and there are some changes, certainly in the order. There's Triple Crown Colorado resting a couple of key people today in light of their contest. And Greece will bring this batting order to the field today. And make no mistake, this is a game where one team is very overmatched, but for teams like Greece and others, it's a learning experience. It's about growing your program, and it's, in the case of Team Greece, that relies on American-born players with Greek heritage. It's a way of growing and getting better. And in many ways, the way to do that is by playing some of the best. And they are in Triple Crown Colorado, who ran into Japan last night in a showdown of teams, both with records of 5-0, and Japan won that game 7-0. Starting pitcher, University of Oklahoma product from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, is Kirsten Deal. She was the number 1 rated prospect in the 2022 class of high school players in the United States. And she delivers a rise ball for a strike to center fielder of Team Greece, Georgia Polidoris. Polidoris is 4 for 16 so far in this Canada Cup. She has good speed and a good bat as Kirsten Deal delivers ball 1, a changeup that was just a little out of the zone. Now, Deal will have a far more responsible position next year for the 3-time reigning NCAA Division I champion Oklahoma Sooners. She only pitched in 27 1/3 innings behind the likes of Jordy Ball, who was arguably the best collegiate pitcher this past season. But this youngster is blessed with ability. You are not the number 1 overall prospect in United States women's softball coming out of high school. That carries with it a lot and is not achieved easily. And she has her first strikeout. Zoe Stavros, one of the better Team Greece hitters. She's 3 for 15, does have a double. And in the number 2 spot, we've come to know Molly Colander to hit in the number 1 spot. She's not in the lineup today as Deal deals a changeup that misses to one of 2 Stavros players on the team. And this is Zoe. Batted .382 at last year's European Championships in Spain. Her college career ended at North Dakota State in the year 2019, where she had 113 runs batted in with the Bison. And having a good at-bat against one of the left-handers for David King's Triple Crown Colorado team. And this is a elite college all-star team that David brings to this tournament. Did so 1 year ago, and that team was so talented and played so well that they beat the United States national team not once, but twice before losing to them in the championship final. And that is something to the U.S. women's national team that just does not occur. But it did here. And Kirsten Deal has a second consecutive strikeout as the rise ball in fine form early this afternoon. Has great elevation as it enters the zone. Brianna Nakaza, she's from Chicago, Illinois. Hitting in the number 3 spot today in the lineup. Drove in a run 2 days ago against Japan. Japan's only given up 2 runs in 6 games. So that was a moment that she will take with her any chance you get to play the powerhouse that is Japan. And you can say I did something that very few did this week. Drive in a run against Japan. And there is the velocity and the rise of young Kirsten Deal. That had some giddy up on it. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Brianna Nakaza, who gets around on it and just finds its way over the screen. Nakaza in the tournament is 2 for 15 with a double, a triple, and she's driven in 2 Greek runs. And had a good rip at that pitch. Got around on it quickly. And drove it right towards her own dugout. She played in Champaign, Illinois for the University of Illinois. Born in the year 2001. Hit .500 for Greece at last year's European Championships. And Kirsten Deal is doing just that. 3 up, 3 strikeouts. For the soon-to-be not only player at Oklahoma, but I'm almost certain star at Oklahoma. Triple Crown Colorado coming to bat when we continue our coverage from Softball City. Crowd continuing to build on this beautiful Friday afternoon. We have been blessed with amazing weather here in British Columbia at this wonderful softball facility. Triple Crown Colorado comes to bat. They were shut out by Team Japan last night, a rarity, and the only team I think capable here of probably pulling off that feat. They have scored 37 runs in their 6 games, a team batting average collectively of .386. And their leadoff batter today is center fielder Mackenzie Wilson. Julia Apostolakos, just 19 years of age, makes another appearance on the rubber for Team Greece. Julia, the 2021 and 2022 New Jersey High School Softball Player of the Year. And that carries with it some great cachet, and you can see that she has a lot of promise. And I'm sure will continue to be a fixture of the Greek national team for many years to come. She hails from Toms River, New Jersey. And a swing and a miss from Mackenzie Wilson to even the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Wilson, 2 for 13 in the Canada Cup. Hits against Canada and Israel. And she has terrific speed. Third base player and the regular leadoff hitter who's hitting over 800 is Danica Coffey, but not in the lineup as Wilson punches it just foul down the left field line. Mackenzie Wilson is from Long Beach, California. Just completed her junior season at Baylor University, where she hit .326 and drove in 23 runs. She was an all Big 12 conference performer in 2022. Stavros across the diamond in time to throw out the very speedy Mackenzie Wilson. Apostolakos pitched very well for 3 innings in the game 2 days ago against Team Japan. And Japan has done this on many occasions. Not that they come out of the gate looking to start in a certain way, but they just chip away, and then as they even did last night against Triple Crown Colorado, the next thing you know, 3-0 turns into 7 or 8. And they were even able to do that against this great Triple Crown club. And a base hit for Talon Edwards, who makes a big wide turn, but will retreat. Edwards, with her second hit of the tournament. She's playing at shortstop today in place of the regular Aaron Koffel. The batter is catcher Reese Atwood. Her numbers are staggering in this event. Atwood from Sandia, Texas, is 7 for 8, batting .875, 2 home runs, and 7 runs batted in. Has split some time behind the plate with Sarah Gordon, who is in the lineup today for Triple Crown Colorado as the designated player. Reese Atwood, in her first year at the University of Texas, under the guidance of former men's star pitcher Michael White, hit 11 home runs and drove in 43. One out, one on here in the bottom of the first. And Atwood a little bit behind the Apostolakos pitch and fouls it to the first base side. Apostolakos appearing in her 5th game of the tournament. She has thrown 9 1/3. Struck out 7 and walked 9. Atwood drives it to right. Tough sun over in right field, but the play made by Maria Zepeda, who fought the sun and made the catch to retire Atwood. And that's only the second time she's been to the plate and hasn't found her way onto first base. Hannah Gamble, love the hometown name, Beebe, Arkansas, and a player at the University of Arkansas. She will represent the United States in August in an upcoming second year in a row 3-game series between the United States and Japan. And swinging out of her shoes that time on the change from Apostolakos, who has been sharp to begin the game. Gave up the one hit, a bloop to left off the bat of Edwards, who remains at first. And another change, and it's an excellent pitch to Gamble, who's hitting well, 7 for 13, a .538 clip. She's yet to drive in a run this week, but expect that to change as Apostolakos missing outside to run the count even. Gamble has 33 home runs in her college career at the University of Arkansas. Edwards on the run, and a strong throw by Kate Karamoussis as Edwards slides in just underneath the tag. It's a good throw down. Not quite in time, and Edwards has a stolen base. And Hannah Gamble with an opportunity here with a runner in scoring position, but she draws a 2-out walk. And free passes for this Triple Crown Colorado group can get you in trouble in a hurry. Jackie Lease, the batter, 7 for 15. A double and 6 runs batted in. She started her tournament this week on day 1 against Israel and went 4 for 4. A matter of fact, she was a perfect 6 for 6 in her first 6 at-bats of this tournament. Trying to cash in the first run as Edwards had a gigantic jump at second. Lease is from Newburgh, Indiana. Change up from Apostolakos, and that just missed down. Lease batted .360 this year for the University of Southern Illinois, the Salukis. And Apostolakos comes in on the hands to again find herself in a very familiar count in this inning. 2-2 to Lease, whose father runs a baseball and softball school. Her grandfather played 8 major league seasons with 4 different teams. High pass tracks it down in foul territory. And Julia Apostolakos in Team Greece gets out of an early jam. No runs after one on the final day of the round robin at the Canada Cup.
Save on Foods knows that giving a little extra can mean a lot, whether it's extra service, extra freshness, or extra savings. So as proud supporters of women's softball and the Canada Cup for more than 14 years, Save on Foods would like to say thank you to all the people who give a little extra to make this tournament possible. Thanks to the volunteers who give a little extra time out of their day, to the families who give a little extra support, to the coaches who give a little extra advice, to the players who give a little extra effort, and most of all, thanks to you, the fans, for the extra cheering and passion that you bring to the field every game.
Maria Zepeda playing in right field for Team Greece to lead it off in the top of the second against University of Oklahoma's Kirsten Deal. Her mother, Michelle, played both Division I softball and basketball. So great bloodlines as it's fouled back by Zepeda. Looking for her first hit. She's 0 for 4 so far in the Canada Cup. Deal from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and had all kinds of opportunities. All the best schools came searching and recruiting, but she picked the three-time reigning NCAA champion Oklahoma Sooners, where she has already now won a national championship. She only pitched in a third of an inning at the College World Series. I was lucky enough to be there on that day. And she pitched against the University of Tennessee. And there are a number of University of Tennessee players in this Canada Cup tournament. She struck out her first three batters in the top half of the first inning. And a change has her behind in the count, really for the first time. 3 balls and a strike to Maria Zepeda. And our first base runner, in Deal's body language, you always know. She thought it was a strike in the upper part of the zone. The umpire thought the rise was just outside the zone, and usually the women or gentlemen wearing blue win. Olivia Pass, the 21-year-old from Seattle, has to pull back the bat in a hurry. And if you've ever played this game at any level, you know how difficult it is to bunt a rise ball. No bunt, swing and a miss. Pest just completed her junior season at Syracuse University, where she batted .292 with a home run and 3 runs batted in. Playing for Team Greece. And drops down a fine sacrifice bunt. But Thought Zepeda was going to be doubled up. Very close play, but she's able to dive in safely. As Pess, an excellent bunt and a strong throw. Over to Talon Edwards, but didn't quite get the tag down in time. And here is shortstop, another youngster, Zoe Milanopoulos. And a healthy swing by Zoe. One of the great things about this week for a lot of the 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 16 and 17-year-olds is for the most part, they have not looked overwhelmed against some world-class competition. And that's not an easy thing to do. Milanopoulos, for me, would fit the bill. Zoe, right out of high school, where she batted .322 at Old Bridge High School. And that is what she's going to be dealing with collegiately moving forward. Strikeout number 4 for Kirsten Deal. In her second appearance, David King's Triple Crown Colorado team, an expanded roster for this event, has 7 pitchers on the staff. Nicole Rattel, the batter, playing over at first. She's been behind the plate this week as well, and swings and misses on what appears to be Kirsten Deal's number 1 pitch, the rise. And it is dynamite. And there it comes again. 5 strikeouts for Oklahoma Sooner, Kirsten Deal. And it remains 0-0 on day 5 of the Canada Cup. Youngster Julia Apostolakos set to face this vaunted Triple Crown Colorado lineup. He's homered 5 times, scored 37 runs entering this, their 7th and final round-robin game, with a batting average collectively of .386. And Sarah Gordon only has 4 official plate appearances. She's 3 for 4, a 2-run home run against Canada in an 8-0 win, and was 1 for 1 last night against Miyogatu and Japan. 2 quick strikes from Apostolakos, who is committed to play at an excellent Division I school. She's on her way to the University of South Florida to play for the Bulls in Tampa Bay. Highly sought after. And missing outside with what looked to be a curved drop from my vantage point. And she has recorded many of the strikeouts that she has delivered this week with that pitch. And Gordon hits it down the right field line, and it goes foul. Sarah Gordon will turn 20 years old on the 2nd of October. She put up massive numbers in her first year at the University of Louisville with the Cardinal. 379 with 11 home runs, 49 runs batted in. She was on the NCAA All-American team for first-year players and was the Atlantic Coast Conference first-year player of the year. So this youngster has high end, and so many of these Triple Crown Colorado players will make their way into national team status category. Saw that this year after Triple Crown Colorado's appearance last year with players like Sydney McKinney, Mia Davidson, just to name a couple, who are now in Ireland. And there's Sarah Gordon. That is home run number 2. A blast to left. And Gordon has her second of the Canada Cup in Triple Crown Colorado. Takes the game's first lead. And you leave a ball up in a zone for Sarah Gordon, and she, like many of these Triple Crown hitters, is going to make you pay. But this is the kind of competition that Apostolakos will continue to face, both collegiately and internationally moving forward. And it really is all part of the process. So Sarah Gordon has Triple Crown Colorado on the board. She's now 4 for 5 with 2 home runs. And the batter is Haley Morrow. Morrow, just 4 at-bats so far in the tournament. Her lone hit came against Israel in Triple Crown Colorado's opening game. She takes high from Apostolakos. Morrow is from Las Vegas, Nevada. Just completed her first year at Brigham Young University, where she hit .316, homered 9 times, and drove in 39 runs. And she was the West Coast Conference first-year player of the year. This truly is a collection of collegiate young stars. Apostolakos with one of, if not her best pitch of the day. Strikes out Haley Morrow, and there is one away. And a great way to respond after giving up a home run to the previous batter. Sunscreen and hats in order again today in Surrey. Apostolakos missing down and away to right fielder Kaylee Wickoff. Wickoff, 3 for 13 in the tournament with a triple and a couple of runs batted in. Both of those happened at the same time against the Australian development team, participating for a second consecutive year. Last year, this tournament featured 12 teams, 2 from Australia, including their national team, known as the Aussie Spirit. The Aussie Spirit are not here this year because they're playing in a 6-team World Cup stage qualifier in Ireland, with the United States and Great Britain. And Georgina Korick has pitched Great Britain to a 3-0 record. They have been a bit of a surprise in that event. And they're playing the United States today. In fact, I'll have to check and see if that game has concluded. Wyckoff draws a walk. Left fielder Jalea Lassiter from Atmore, Alabama. Just finished her first year at Ole Miss. You might be, if you have any interest in the sport of football, have some familiarity. That's where Archie Manning played. Not Peyton. Peyton went to Tennessee. But Eli, a two-time Super Bowl champion with the New York Giants, also followed his dad to Ole Miss. And Jalea Lassiter is there for college softball. The throw is in time. That's not an easy tag made by second base player Brianna Nakaza to retire Wyckoff. Watch here as she comes around from behind to get in a position to catch it, not obstruct the runner, and still make the tag. And Apostolakos gives up a home run, but gets a nice defensive play and then records her second strikeout. Sarah Gordon, second home run of this tournament, has Triple Crown Colorado in front 1-0 after 2. I mentioned Georgina Korick, who's from Florida, a star at the University of South Florida, who is pitching Great Britain towards next year's World Cup of women's softball in Italy. Well, she just finished her collegiate career at the University of South Florida, and this youngster is about to follow in her footsteps. Julia Apostolakos, who just concluded the last inning with a couple of strikeouts, and now shows that she can hit, and lined out. Hit it very well to center, but Mackenzie Wilson barely had to move. But a fine at-bat off an excellent pitcher in Kirsten Deal, who has yet to give up a base hit in the game. The only Greek runner made her way to first base on a walk in the second inning. Four strikeouts for Kirsten Deal, working her third straight inning. Activity, and my guess is This will be her last inning when you have 7 pitchers and all by and large at a very high level. Staff that includes fantastic first-year player this past season at Duke University, Cassidy Curd, Carlin Pickens. Quite a group as Kate Karamoussis dealing with that rise ball. Karamoussis 1 for 7 so far in the Canada Cup. And you just saw it again. Started up and ended up right at eye level by the time that pitch went by Karamoussis. Strikeout number 5 for Kirsten Deal, and there are 2 away. A primarily left-handed pitching roster for David King that, in a chat with our terrific color analyst this week, former shortstop with the Italian national team, Amanda Fama, David King referred to it as lefty soup. And here's part of the broth of his lefty soup in Kirsten Deal. And she is a talented ingredient. Change up on one hop to Gamble. Polidorus is retired. Greece still looking for its first hit. Triple Crown Colorado leads Team Greece 1-0 going to the bottom of the third on the final day of round robin play at Softball City. Beautiful day. Yes, hats are required. So is sunscreen. And hope you will, if you're tuning in and in the area, we'd love to see you here. Canada in a big showdown with Japan in the final round robin game for those two teams this evening at 6 o'clock. By the way, it is also Pride Day here at the Canada Cup. There will be a ceremony coming up a little later, just prior to that Team Canada game, as we truly celebrate. And looking forward to that ceremony coming up a little later. Triple Crown Colorado has a 1-0 advantage on Sarah Gordon's second home run of the tournament. To the top of the order, and center fielder Mackenzie Wilson, who grounded out to Zoe Milanopoulos at shortstop in the bottom of the first, and had a good cut at the Apostolakos pitch. Really great to see Team Greece come back. Yesterday was tough for them. On diamond number 2, they lost 16-0 against Team Italy in a game that only lasted 3 innings. So to come back today off of that, and so far have more than acquitted themselves well, Reminds me a lot of their game against Japan. They were the first team to score a run against Japan in the tournament. They've only yielded 2 and have scored 52. The full count pitch fouled off by Mackenzie Wilson. A Baylor Bear. The Baylor Bears lost in the NCAA tournament in one of 16 regional tournaments across the country, and Wilson, who can fly, has a leadoff walk here in the bottom of the third, and Talon Edwards, who singled to left her first time up. As Triple Crown Colorado looks to break it open, something they've done against just about everyone, but Zoe Stavros with a brilliant defensive play on the bunt attempt, and low fives, high fives to go around. A diving play by Zoe Stavros. Excellent defense from third base player Stavros, and there's one away. That'll pump up a group in a hurry. Wilson, certainly a threat to run, head coach and the owner of the Triple Crown Colorado softball program, and it's a large program. They run a lot of quality tournaments in Colorado, and a drop by Zepeda. And Wilson, quick enough to, even after that, be able to recover. And that sun right now on the right side of the diamond is miserable. Tried to shield it, did Maria Zepeda, but dropped it. So Atwood reaches on the air. And here's Hannah Gamble. And I don't know if it's going to be this at-bat. But before this tournament is over, I would predict she's going to hit a ball that will leave the playing surface. Had a bit of a down year at the University of Arkansas after an amazing 2022 season. In her second consecutive Canada Cup is Hannah Gamble. Hit 3 home runs and drove in 11 in this tournament late last June. And she just missed doing what I predicted she was going to do. Just missed it. So strong is Hannah Gamble. 6 home runs this season at the University of Arkansas. In her collegiate career, she has 33 of them. And that's a good changeup from Apostolakos. Could tell had Gamble a little off balance. So this is a good battle here. 2 on after the error. 1-0, Triple Crown Colorado, and the change misses up this time to even the count. Looking forward to watching so many of these young players as they move on after this tournament, whether it's collegiately or internationally. Gamble to right. Zepeda shades her eyes. Wilson's going to move to third. And there's a ball right there that probably could have gone to second base in order to keep a runner out of scoring position. Now, you'd have a chance on a first and third to potentially have Atwood over there. But those are the little things that young teams will continue to learn as they go along. So Atwood able to move up on the throw, trying to make a play on the tagging Mackenzie Wilson. As Hannah Gamble flies out for out number 2. And Jackie Lease looking to get back on track, and that's probably not fair. But she started 6 for 6. Zoe Milanopoulos takes care of the pop-up, and Julia Postolakos is giving Team Greece, with some help from her friends, an excellent pitching performance against a very talented group of hitters playing for Triple Crown Colorado. We'll come back to Softball City and see if David King will send a different pitcher to the rubber when we return shortly. Kirsten Deal back to work. Zoe Stavros, again, shading the eyes. This time, his second base player, Haley Morrow. And there is one away. Deal has still yet to surrender a hit in the game, and has recorded 5 strikeouts in her now 3 1/3 innings. Brianna Nakaza can hit the ball. That's a simple phrase, but she has shown, regardless of the competition, it doesn't always end in a base hit, but she swings it very well. The University of Illinois product out of Chicago. Deal makes a strong throw. And quickly, there are 2 down for Greece in the top half of the 4th inning, as myself and the wonderful proprietor of Premier Softball TV, who are showing you all the great pictures. He and his wife, Luciano, and I share a bit of a laugh up here in the booth. Because I was going on and going on for a while, and, well, I wasn't on. So we had a nice chuckle when I came back officially. 2 down for Maria Zepeda, who walked. She has been the only Greek base runner in the game. That happened in the second. And she is ahead in the count, 2 balls, no strikes, and that changes with that pitch from Kirsten Deal. Been such a pleasure to work with Luciano and his lovely wife. Now on a couple of occasions. Did a few games with Softball Premier TV at a men's tournament a couple of weekends ago in Simcoe, Ontario. And hope that we will continue to be teammates going forward. And again, Zepeda able to do what no one else on Team Greece has been able to do, get on base. Now, Kirsten Deal, as we'll give you another peek, feels like that went off the knob end of the bat. Looked like it hit the forearm to me on that great replay. So Zepeda hit by a pitch. The tying run is on base for Olivia Pess, who laid down a quality sacrifice bunt her first time up and had a good rip at the high rise from Kirsten Deal from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. No balls, 1 strike. To left fielder Olivia Pess, and she rips it to left. The first Greek base hit of the game. She gives Shan McDonald a double high five over at first. So Team Greece was something brewing for the first time in the game after the hit batter in the following single for Olivia Pess. And Pess 3 for 7 so far at the Canada Cup. And a pitching change. So we'll track that down. And this time, I will go away for just a second. 1-0. Triple Crown, Colorado. We'll tell you about the new pitcher very shortly. Zoe Milanopoulos to face the new pitcher for Triple Crown Colorado. She is Nikki McGaffin from Fort Collins, Colorado. Just played her first year at the University of Arkansas, and a changeup to Zoe Milanopoulos is fouled. Kirsten Deal, a quality outing, gave up just the 1 hit. Struck out 5 in her 3 2/3 innings. 2 out. Zepeda in scoring position at second. And another change up for Zoe Milanopoulos to deal with. Team Greece hanging in nicely here against 5-1 Triple Crown Colorado. And that hits Milanopoulos on one bounce. And the bases are loaded. Second batter in the inning that has been hit. And quite an opportunity now for first base player Nicole Rattel. As McGaffin comes in and hits Milanopoulos after being up 2 strikes. Rattel struck out her first time against Kirsten Deal. 1 for 5 in the tournament. The bases are loaded for Team Greece. Trying to find the win column here for the first time. And McGaffin comes back with a pitch on the inner half for a strike. All 8 teams will make the playoffs that start tomorrow morning at 10:30. Change up on the ground. Lease hesitated, and Greece has tied the game. And an error. With the bases loaded, and Team Greece has tied Triple Crown Colorado at 1 in the top of the 4th. And I don't think many of us who came to the park today, with no disrespect meant at all, thought that this very young Greek team would be in this position. But an error to Jackie Lease, who has spent the majority of her time this week over at second, playing at third, as David King giving some of his key players the day off. And an error leads to a Team Greece run. And now it's Apostolakos. Rips it. That's in the gap. 2 runs will score. Julia Apostolakos has given Team Greece a 3-1 lead. She is doing it all this afternoon. Pitching, and now drives it almost to the wall. A 2-run single for Apostolakos, the 2-time New Jersey High School Player of the Year, is showing why this afternoon. And what an interesting twist. But a long way to go, and that throw from Atwood sails over the head. But no opportunity for Rattel to really know where the ball was. She was just scrambling back to make sure she wasn't the last out of the inning. Karamoussis, Mackenzie Wilson will use her speed to get there. 3 Greek runs in the top of the 4th. And we have ourselves a game on the final day of the round robin at the Canada Cup. Well, the fans enjoying this game, maybe more than many thought. The Team Greece supporters are certainly enjoying it. Their team winless here. But pitcher Julia Apostolakos has given up just 1 run in 3 innings to a team that has scored 37 times. And now she has delivered, to help her own cause, her first 2 runs batted in of the Canada Cup. And now we wait for the response. Sarah Gordon is 1 for 1 today. She supplied the only run for Triple Crown Colorado in the second with a solo home run to left field. And after what just occurred, I'm going to guess that for Apostolakos, now it's about settling back in on the rubber. Be a lot of emotion flowing there for this youngster who just turned 19. And maybe evident right here, 3 balls. And you do not want to make a mistake to this 19-year-old. And a 4-pitch walk for designated player Sarah Gordon, a star at the University of Louisville already, and she's only been there for 1 season. Haley Morrow is the struck out her first time up. Apostolakos has a couple of strikeouts in the changeup. This one finds the zone. It'll be hard to keep the adrenaline level after what Julia just did at the plate as Morrow squares to bunt. Haley Morrow, 39 runs batted in. She was the West Coast Conference first-year player of the year at Brigham Young University in Utah. She hails from Las Vegas. And this Triple Crown Colorado team is almost, not entirely, but a lot of first-year stars. Apostolakos fields the bunt well. And Morrow, the sacrifice to move Sarah Gordon over into scoring position with Triple Crown Colorado down by 2 after a 3-run Greek 4th inning. Right fielder Kaylee Wickoff walked and then was thrown out attempting to steal by Kate Karamoussis. Down the line, foul. As there is more activity in the Triple Crown Colorado bullpen. And warming up right now is Carlin Pickens. Apostolakos on the outside corner and gets ahead of Wickoff, who's 3 for 13 in the tournament with a triple and a couple of runs batted in. Those came off of her triple against Australia. Pass attempts to get to that in foul ground, but there'll be another opportunity for Wickoff, who started the game last night in right against Japan, which was a somewhat stunning 7-0 victory, even for Japan, who certainly flexed their muscles. Wickoff, pass should have a chance to make this play, reaches up, throws toward third. It's cut off by Milanopoulos. And Gordon tags and slides safely into third. Shelly Lassiter, the batter. 2 down. And an opportunity to drive in a batter, something she has yet to do in the tournament. The fine outfielder is 1 for 12 in the tournament. The lone hit came in their big win on Wednesday afternoon, 8-0 in 5 over Team Canada, which was an eye-opener. And Canada has responded with a couple of impressive victories, including one last night over Team Israel. 3 more games to come your way before the round robin comes to a close. The highlight game is 6-0 Japan taking on 5-1 Canada tonight at 6, and we expect another very good crowd. I would hope for arguably the best one of the week, and we've had some great crowds when Canada has played. The best was their game against Mexico on Wednesday evening. The playoffs, all 8 teams will make it, but the big advantage comes for the teams that finish in the top 4 because they will have 2 lives, while if you finish 5 through 8, as Greece will, just 1. Milanopoulos knocks it down. She has a strong arm and throws out Lassiter. Greece leading Triple Crown Colorado 3-1 after 4 at the Canada Cup. A new pitcher entering the game. There's a great shot. It's one of my favorites that Luciano Lafrano has come up with. He's also good with the weather. He has it at 20. I would suggest it might be a tad warmer. Beautiful day. And a surprise to the first 4 innings of this game. Greece leading powerhouse Triple Crown Colorado. Greece winless. Triple Crown Colorado not playing their best lineup today, but trailing as Carlin Pickens enters the game. Was very impressed with her. As a strike to center fielder Georgia Polidorus. Pickens was 9-7 in her first year at the University of Tennessee, a participant in the Final 8 in Division I softball, known as the College Women's World Series. She pitched 1 2/3 innings against Oklahoma, and it was tough, as innings are very tough for anyone. But this young woman was the SEC Conference First-Year Player of the Year, and that is as good a conference as you'll find in the NCAA. Struck out 99 this year, walked 37, and comes on to become the third pitcher. Kirsten Deal worked brilliantly, gave way after giving up only 1 hit to Nikki McGaffin, and didn't quite go so well for Nikki. And a strikeout of Polidorus to begin the top of the 5th. Carlin Pickens has pitched 7 innings now, has a record of 1-0, given up no runs, 3 hits, has struck out 12, and walked 2. And she's right-handed, as was McGaffin, but a lot of lefties on David King's staff. Facing third base player Zoe Stavrous into the hole. And the play made. For out number 2. And we have certainly a defensive change. Lease was at third. Edwards was at second earlier in the game. They have now switched spots. And if I'm not mistaken, that also looks to me like it's Aaron Koffel who has come into the game at short. And as Brianna Nakaza takes a quality rip at the Pickens offering. And that is Koffel. I don't think there's any question about it. I know the release usually wears the towel, and it is indeed Aaron Koffel, who's come into the game at shortstop. We're not right by the official score here, so getting changes isn't always easy from where we call the games. Koffel to first to end the inning, and Triple Crown Colorado coming to bat, looking to draw even in the bottom of the 5th. Played in last year's World Games, played in the Olympics, and is now making a transition. And there she is, doing her notes, getting ready. Just a lovely person, and I wish her nothing but the best in her future endeavors. The thing about this sport over the years is I have just met so many memorable people. Mackenzie Wilson. Julia Apostolakos is having a memorable afternoon. She has held Triple Crown Colorado to this point to just 2 hits, which is a superb feat, and she's driven in 2 of the 3 Greek runs. There's Talon Edwards, 1 for 2 in the game, comes to bat. Julia Apostolakos on her way in the fall to the University of South Florida to pitch for the Bulls. And she's showing the softball world today that she will certainly have a chance, I'm guessing, in her 4 years there to make an impact. Just 19 as Apostolakos facing Talon Edwards. Talon now 2 for 15 in this Canada Cup after a hit today. 1 of 2 that Apostolakos has given up. The other was the supplier of the Colorado run. It was a home run that gave Triple Crown Colorado a 1-0 lead off the bat of Sarah Gordon back in the bottom of the second inning. High change, fought off, and a single by Edwards. That was literally almost over her head when she swung through and popped it over the head of Brianna Nakaza at second. For her second hit of the day, and entering the game at the plate for the first time is the dangerous Erin Koffel, who batted .440 this year at the University of Kentucky. And she will be on her way later this year to represent her country at the USA-Japan Series in Japan in early August. Did not start today, but with the situation, and I'll tell you in a few seconds why it is potentially important. Koffel, Zepeda again in that tough sun, but fights her way through it, and Koffel goes down, flying out to the right fielder. And there are 2 away. Hannah Gamble reached on a walk in the first and then flew out to Zepeda in the third. And you can feel a big knock brewing in Hannah Gamble. She pulls it foul down the line. Has yet to drive in a run in this Canada Cup. Had 3 home runs and 11 runs batted in for Triple Crown Colorado, who beat the United States national team here twice last year before losing to them in the championship game by a count of 5-1. And she wants time. As Julia took an extra look over at Shan McDonald, the longtime coach at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, has been in the game her whole life and so near and dear to my heart. I've known her since I was 13 years of age. She played for the Saskatoon Harmony Centers in senior ball. The throw, and it gets away. There's going to be a stolen base, and Edwards on the stolen base and the error is now just 60 feet away. Shan was involved for a number of years with the Saskatoon Harmony Centers, a team that won the Canadian National Senior Championship in 1980. It was her first year. She's from Ontario. Made her way to Saskatoon. A star pitcher. Both in the senior ranks in the early 80s in Canada, and was a star in her college days at Texas A&M University. And just a beautiful person. That's the only way I can describe it. Had a chance to see Shan last night quickly for the first time in almost 40 years. And she made a huge impact on me as someone who was around her for 3 and 4 years. So it was really special to see her again. Edwards on her way and is safe. And Apostolakos took a peek up as the walk and wild pitch draws Triple Crown Colorado to within 1. And Apostolakos thought that throw might have been on time. Luciano, any chance we could get another look at that? Thank you kindly. It was close at home. Just, I think, in time. And it is 3-2. So the error gave the opportunity for Edwards to score on the wild pitch. And a pinch hitter, and what a tournament Danica Coffey is having, a star at LSU. Coffey is 11 for 14. She is the tournament's leading hitter, batting .786. .786. That is staggering. And there's been some great hitting performances. Jillian Solis of Mexico. Canada's Kelsey Harshman. Callum Pilgrim, Janet Leung. Coffey is 11 for 14 as she enters in a key spot with her team down by a run in the bottom of the 5th. Hannah Gamble, the base runner, leaning with 2 out. Apostolakos has been superb. Just turned 19 on the 24th of March. And this is a tough spot for anyone against this team. And the count runs full to Danica Coffey. Gamble will be on the move on the pitch. And Apostolakos struck her out. Danica Coffey retired for just the 4th time in the tournament. 11 for 15 now. I'd suggest maybe to this point in her young career, the biggest strikeout ever for Julia Apostolakos. His crease still has an upset in mind, and when we return, I'll tell you why it's so important potentially for Triple Crown Colorado after this.
second base, he will call that number 44, Kyle Edwards.
Team Greece leads Triple Crown Colorado by a count of 3-2. Still plenty of time left for Triple Crown Colorado as Carlin Pickens back to work, the University of Tennessee pitcher. Now, Triple Crown Colorado beat Team Canada. So the biggest fans in the park should be Team Canada, and here is why. Because a Triple Crown Colorado loss today and a Team Canada upset win over Japan would give Canada first place. And it would mean in the crossover in the top four in tomorrow morning's playoffs that Triple Crown Colorado would face Japan. So no bigger supporters than Team Canada. And Triple Crown Colorado, now neither of those options are great, but Japan at this point has truly been the cream of the crop. So Pickens with a strikeout of Zepeda, as she has two since entering the game. And a fantastic change of pace. Swung on and missed by Olivia Pass, who has one of the two Team Greece hits. Her hit started the ball rolling in the 3-run Greek fourth inning. Helped to set the table for pitcher Julia Apostolakos, who cashed in 2 runs to turn 1-1 into 3-1 and now 3-2. And Pickens, another hit batter. It's the third of the day by the Triple Crown Colorado pitching staff. And passes on. And that is how that 3-run fourth started. It started with Maria Zepeda being hit by a pitch. And this batter, Zoe Milanopoulos, was also hit by a pitch in that inning. And an error helped to tie the game. So Team Greece has Triple Crown Colorado in a little difficulty here. We've now noticed that Haley Morrow is catching. Coffey remains in the game at third after the pinch hit, and the change misses to Zoe Milanopoulos. Hit by a pitch and scored in the fourth. Struck out her first time up. And David King wants to settle his group down. They lost last night 7-0 to Japan. Not really reflective of the game. The Japanese, as they've been prone to doing all week, chip away at you and then seem to turn one big inning all week into 7 or 8-0 by about the fifth inning. It actually happened the same way against this Greek team. So Team Greece comes off a 16-0 3-inning setback at the hands of Italy yesterday evening, and here they are pushing Triple Crown Colorado to the limit. However, I will remind you, Triple Crown Colorado has 2 at-bats left. And Milanopolis fouls that Carlin Pickens pitch back. I don't want to try that alliteration quickly too often. It is certainly made for an interesting Game 2 of Day 5. Change up is dynamite. Third strikeout in relief for Carlin Pickens to send Zoe Milanopolis to the dugout. 2 down. Lifted in the air by Rattel, and the catch is made by Kaylee Wickoff. The bottom of the 6th. Triple Crown Colorado looking to avoid what would be a massive upset. See how they respond. They've got 2 at-bats left and trail 3-2 here at Softball City. Sarah Gordon has homered off of the star of this show, and it's the pitcher, 2-time New Jersey Softball Player of the Year, now 19-year-old Julia Apostolakos, who is literally pitching the game of her life this afternoon. Can she do it for 2 more innings? This would be an upset of very large proportion. Greece has yet to win a game and have taken some real knocks. Zepeda in right, shielding her eyes, and makes the catch. Zepeda had a fly ball get away from her earlier in the game. Now the catcher, Haley Morrow, steps in. And takes strike 1. Morrow struck out and laid down a sacrifice bunt in her last at-bat. The BYU Cougar Triple Crown Colorado with 3 hits in the game. Greece with 2, and Greece has committed a couple of errors. Triple Crown Colorado has committed one of their own. And this is a sky-high pop-up. Polidorus calls off Zepeda, and there are 2 away. Kaylee Wickoff trying to keep the inning alive. Flew out to Olivia Pass in left in the fourth. Walked and was thrown out, attempting to steal in the second. Nothing like sports in terms of the world's greatest theater. And we have some theater here this afternoon. And that draws a less than rave review from the Greek dugout. They thought it was strike two. Two balls and a strike to Kaylee Wickoff. With two out and Triple Crown Colorado trailing 3-2 in the bottom of the sixth. And that called a strike by our home plate umpire. Wickoff, good piece of hitting, just stayed alive in a tough outside pitch from Apostolakos. Team Greece is the only team in the 8-team field not to win a game. This is their final round robin game. They're 0-6. Wickoff stays alive again. Their run differential, and I don't want to make too much of it, but they've been outscored in 6 games by 45 runs. And they're leading Triple Crown Colorado, who have a plus 25 run differential by a run. And the count goes full to Kaylee Wickoff. Jalia Lassiter, the number 9 hitter for Triple Crown Colorado, is due up next. And she'll come to the plate. Key hit by Wickoff. Her 4th of the Canada Cup. And the tying run is on for Lassiter. Well, this is fantastic. There was no one, if they were telling the truth, who thought we'd be in this position this afternoon. Wickoff. And they just called obstruction on shortstop Zoe Milanopoulos. Impeded the path of the runner. And Tony Foti wants an explanation, and I don't blame him. As a defensive player, you should have the option to go ahead and make the play. And that's exactly what Tony's talking about. He wants another conversation. And I think he has a real beef. This was not about being in the wrong place. You have got to allow the defensive player to make a play on the ball. And what a time for this to happen. Now, it's close. Don't get me wrong. Those are really difficult calls. And obstruction or interference calls are always tricky. But by my knowledge, when you're making a play defensively, certainly on a ball, then it's absolutely the runner's responsibility. On a throw, it does give the runner more lenience. Just to add a little more drama to this great game this afternoon. The tying run now in scoring position, and Tony Foti is still hot. The American coach of Italian descent, coaching Team Greece. And I do not blame him one bit for playing this game under protest. And it's the second time this week that has occurred. So we're going to have a delay. We're going to talk about it. I get to, but more importantly, the people who make a decision are going to talk about it. And I have to tell you, it's a very difficult call. So I don't want to undersell it at all. But I truly understand what Tony Foti thinks just occurred. And that was not that his shortstop was standing in the path, that she had no choice but in order to field the ball to make the play that she did. And as we just showed you, the runner looked to be out. So I'll take a breath or two. We'll allow Roberto Perez and the committee to rule on this protest. It's 3-2 Greece in the bottom of the sixth at Softball City. So this game was interesting enough to begin with. Greece 0-6 against 5-1 Triple Crown Colorado. This is with 2 outs. The call is obstruction. Greek head coach Tony Foti has played the game now under protest. He feels like his shortstop gets the opportunity to go over and make a play. The umpire feels like that the path of the runner was impeded and that maybe Zoe Milanopoulos could have avoided the collision and may have planted in the base path. That is a tough call. And I guess as a former infielder, even when I played, always feel like you should have a chance to go get the ball. You're not standing directly in the path, or you're not sitting there waiting for it in the path. That's a timing play. I personally don't think this call can be overturned. I don't. So I think it's going to stand, and obstruction will be the call. And Triple Crown Colorado will have an opportunity to keep the inning alive and tie the game with a runner in scoring position. That seems very simultaneous to me. But I'm not in the middle of it, in the heat of it, making that decision. Greg Tim, the president, part of the committee. So is Roberto Perez. And now they'll further discuss with the umpiring crew. So my guess is the call stands. And I do get it on both sides. This is a difficult one because I truly can see it both ways. That's how close that play was. And the original call, the reason for the protest is obstruction. The runner is out. They met, and Greece has won the protest. And now David King's going to come have his say, the head coach of Triple Crown Colorado. Well, it's animated. It's animated including from obviously some Triple Crown Colorado fans and spectators, and I get it. This is a really, really tough decision. And now David King, who does such a masterful job running the entire Triple Crown Colorado softball program and coaching and clinics and tournaments, and it is a marvelous opportunity, that program, and has turned out a lot of terrific young players. And he, needless to say, sees it very differently as this conversation now continues. And this is a key moment in the tournament. It's not key for Greece. They're 0-6. They're going to finish in 8th place and play the 5th place finisher tomorrow afternoon in their first playoff game. And for teams here finishing 5 through 8, they will have one life, meaning every one of their games. And now the committee's going to talk about it again as the drama continues. And if she doesn't mind, and I'll give her a second, Amanda Fama is with me doing some preparation for our next game, which is Australia's development team and her former team in Team Italy. Now, you have watched the play. Maybe we can allow her to watch this again. And remember, this is a national team shortstop breaking this down for you.
This is a tough play. As I'm watching it in slow motion, you see the shortstop coming across because that throw is a little offline. And TC Colorado sliding right into it. And did they end up calling obstruction, or what was the call?
The first decision was out.
Was out.
After the protest.
And the only thing that I'm thinking is that with the way the shortstop goes down with that left leg is almost like she's setting herself up in front of that bag instead of, I think if she would have stayed on her feet if she could and kind of carried with her momentum, would have saved her from that obstruction call. So I think this is going to be an obstruction call just because she is out in front of that base kind of static and planted down. But this is tough.
It is. But my only question, and I've watched it now 11 times, is to me, by looking at it, I would suggest, don't you have to be there in time to plant for it to be obstruction? I see it myself, Amanda, more as simultaneous reaction just to be able to make the play. But I do. This is as difficult, and now David King probably is playing the call under protest. He's just spent a little bit of time chatting with Tony Foti, the Greek head coach. Or certainly now, David, that was his assistant who was chatting. Now the two head coaches are going to confer. So we've already had one protest ruled on. Now we have another.
And I guess obstruction is if the defensive player is obstructing the base path. And I think we're seeing that here. I don't think the TC Colorado player could have gone around that, even if she could have. Again, I've only seen the play a few times. But if the Greece shortstop is there a little earlier and more towards the home plate side of the base, not towards first base, but more on that corner towards the pitcher's mound, towards home plate, she's able to take a step towards the runner without blocking that bag. And that would have been a fair play. But because she's late to this throw, she's her momentum's going in that base path.
So here's what I'm going to ask you, and we're going to look again, and we're going to try to slow this down as much as we possibly can. So I have to tell you, first of all, I'm a little surprised at a shortstop seeing this on the other side, but it's great.
And it's happened a few times, and in the Italian league, it could go either way, but any type of... My not argument, but my thought process is this. And Luciano, can we maybe get it one more time? We're going to be here for half an hour anyway. So is there any way she could have avoided or gotten there earlier in order to make that play? Yeah. To me, that's a bang, bang. I, as the shortstop, am trying to get to the ball. I think in many ways the collision had a lot to do with the umpire feeling like it was obstruction. But that's just my take on it. It is a little hard to see whether she's in that base path or slightly in front of it, which it actually does look like she's on that inner half of the base, allowing a path on that outside portion of the bag. So...
Well, we're still talking about it. And if we can get a shot of the Triple Crown Colorado dugout, at least they're dancing to Cotton Eye Joe. Very nice. Carol giving us that shot from her camera. Well, I mean, it is only sports. I mean, we're not saving lives here, but...
This is a big game, though. I've been watching it and listening to you. I think... As I've been walking around the park and everyone glances up at the scoreboard, they've literally stopped in their tracks and been surprised by this. So they are having a blast, but this is a big, unexpected game.
Well, here's why it's so big in my mind. So Japan is the cream of the crop here. Make no mistake about it. They play Canada in the final game of the round robin here tonight at 6. if Triple Crown Colorado is to lose this game, they fall to 5-2, which opens the door for Canada with an upset of Japan to finish first, and thus would cause Triple Crown to play Japan tomorrow in the crossover first playoff game, because 2 versus 3, 1 versus 4. That's why it's so big. Yes, Greece would love to pull the upset of a softball lifetime, but that to me is really why you need the best you can to get this right. And I can tell you, I don't know if the Canadians are looking on, but this might matter more to them. Now, listen, here's the other part. You have to beat Japan tonight, and you might have to beat Japan facing all-time great Yukiko Ueno in order to do it. And Japan has clearly been, for my money, the class of the field, the reigning Olympic champions. But that's the part of it that required an explanation, and why this game has become, and this decision becomes very critical. In saying that, this would not end the game even if the first protest call, which is out to end the 6th. This is a team in Triple Crown Colorado who can easily come up in the 7th, tie the game, win the game. So we're a long way from being over here.
Was that the third out?
That's the third out.
Sorry, I'm just jumping into this as I came around the booth. I would have liked to see it live, because that's, again, kind of where she is on that base is going to depict whether it's obstruction, she's in that base path, or if she's a little more towards home plate on the inside.
Now, maybe the rules have changed a little bit, but for the longest time, if you were in the process of making the play, I always thought the fielder gets the chance to make the play. I know they certainly do when a ball is in play. That then becomes the base runners, and we've seen that call here, where a base runner impeded the ability for a fielder to make a play on the ball and thus was called out.
Right.
It happened in a key spot in a Canadian game with Kiana Jones trying to go from first to second. In a game, I think, that was against Triple Crown Colorado. And we have been at this now for the better part of 15 or 20 minutes. And one protest, and I think if I am reading Tony Foti's body language the right way, I'm starting to sense that the call now might go back to its original. And the fans are getting antsy. We're getting a little antsy. This is something.
It looks like they've made a decision.
And Tony's hot, and I know why he's hot. And this is going to get changed back to its original, because he would not be reacting this way without this call being changed. And it's going to be changed because Colorado's first base coach is on his way back to first. So we're going to see Jalia Lassiter with a chance to tie the game. And Tony Foti, and I don't blame him, is going to get every word in he can. I have to tell you, if I was coaching in this game, I'll tell you where I would already be. I'd be in the stands. Might have gotten the heave-ho. And we're going to go right back to the original call after 2 different protests. That's an incredibly difficult call. And they switched it back to the original, which I kind of thought was how they would go in the first place, but they didn't. They met and gave the first ruling after the Greece protest, which was made by American coach Tony Foti of Team Greece, who has obviously Italian heritage with a name like Foti. Could be Greek too. Could be shortened for Fotopoulos. And a long delay, and now for me as well, it's a big advantage for Triple Crown Colorado because the reason Greece is still on the verge of pulling a massive upset has been the work of their pitcher, Julia Apostolakos. And she's had to sit around and wait now for 20-plus minutes. But the call is finally made, and we're going to play again. And Apostolakos misses up to Jalia Lassiter, who's 0 for 2 in the game with a strikeout and a ground out. Apostolakos has gone the whole way and given up just 3 hits. And a good rip at that pitch by Lassiter, who has just 1 hit in 13 official at-bats. It was against Canada in their 8-0 win on Wednesday afternoon. Change up. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Jalia Lassiter. Haley Wyckoff is at second after the stolen base on the obstruction.
Which, Peter, I was actually able to have a quick conversation just now, run downstairs and talk with one of the gentlemen that was in that conversation on the field. And one of the things we didn't consider was if the tag was even on time. And that was something they were considering, was if the runner even got in there. And unfortunately, this isn't a replay tournament. So they had to go with what the umpire saw, and that was one of the deciding factors, which we didn't even look at, was if the tag was made in time even.
Well, it's a great assessment, but I don't even think, to be frank, that can enter in because you made the obstruction call. So either it was or it wasn't.
Right. And that's what was interesting, was how that came into play later on. So I think a little bit of confusion on the umpiring staff. And that's a tough call. That is a tough call for an umpire. It's a bang-bang play. Good hard slide. Good throw. Great play from the shortstop, getting down there, putting herself in that situation. That's a scary situation. And the outcome ended up standing.
The comments of former Italian national team shortstop Amanda Pham, who's had to make many of those kind of plays. And a base hit. The game is tied. And Lassiter at third with a run-scoring triple. And it is 3-3. And as I just remarked, I really thought after the call played to Triple Crown Colorado's advantage because of the time spent for Julia Apostolakos waiting for the game to begin. But credit Lassiter. Just down the line, and let's see again how this youngster bounces back from this. So Lassiter, the potential winning run, certainly the go-ahead run. And Mackenzie Wilson is the batter. What a twist. What an afternoon. What a game. Great drama here at Softball City. And still some to come in a 3-3 tie with a lot on the line for Triple Crown Colorado. they could still finish first in a three-way tie if Canada was to upset Japan, which is a tall, tall order. But first place means you don't have to play one of those other two teams. I think chances are that Italy is going to make their way into the number 4 spot before it's all said and done today. And they still have 2 remaining games, the Italians, who are at 2-3. And they'll play Australia's development team. They're 1-5, and then have a game against Mexico in the final game of the day and round robin tonight at 8:30. Well, welcome to a newsworthy Friday at Softball's Canada Cup. And no throw as Mackenzie Wilson scampers and Talon Edwards can absolutely put Triple Crown Colorado in the driver's seat. The winning run is at third in Jalia Lassiter, who just tied it with her first run batted in of the Canada Cup. And Apostolakis does not look quite the same, and she has pitched the game of her life against this group. And walks another batter, back-to-back walks. And the bases are loaded. And I love the fact, and maybe it is going to change, I thought Team Greece might give Julia a chance to bail herself out, but here comes longtime head coach, great pitcher herself in college, the Canadian senior level, represented her country, did Shan McDonald. And we'll get a change to veteran Lauren Stavros, who comes in with the bases loaded in a 3-3 tie in the bottom of the 6th. And will have to face Erin Koffel, who entered the game, has had one at-bat since she did so and flew out to Maria Zepeda. Tip all your caps to Team Greece. 0-6 had been outscored by their opponents in those games by 45 runs, including 16-0 yesterday evening at the hands of Team Italy. And they have given Triple Crown Colorado all they can handle and more. And Julia Apostolakos, congratulations on a marvelous performance. She also has driven in 2 runs for Greece in the game. Her 2-run single is what turned 1-1 into 3-1 Greece in the 4th. So this game that is moving into the 2.5-hour territory and will back us up as far as time. The next game was slated to begin at 3:30 between Australia's development team and 2-3 Team Italy, who have their sights set on 2 wins today and moving into the top 4, as the top 4 teams have 2 lives when the playoffs start tomorrow morning. while teams 5 through 8 after the round robin are in must-win territory and will cross over. 5 will play 8, 6 will play 7, and then those two teams in the bracket will join in and face the losers of tomorrow's winners bracket semifinals. Lauren Stavros, the pitcher, against Aaron Koffel, and needs strikes. 3 balls and a strike to Aaron Koffel. And rips it. It is gone. A grand slam homer by Aaron Koffel, her 3rd of the tournament. She sat on the pitch and drove it over the left field fence. 7-3, Triple Crown, Colorado. Aaron Koffel, the star at the University of Kentucky out of Bremen, Indiana, has her 3rd home run and now 11 runs batted in. And that is going to guarantee, I certainly think, Triple Crown Colorado's 6th win in 7 tries, as they explode after 2 protests and what looked like at one point Team Greece was out of the inning. Gamble. Did that go off the glove of Zoe Stavros? It did. And Hannah Gamble has her first hit of the afternoon. A grand slam home run by Koffel, who drove in 55 runs and had 19 homers at the University of Kentucky. Goes deep with the bases loaded. And now, Triple Crown Colorado will be cheering hard for Team Canada, who with an upset win because of run differential and Triple Crown Colorado's 8-0 victory over Team Canada, but then they lost by 7 to Japan. I'm not going to go any farther. I've certainly had more than enough time to share a lot as this game has gone on. But I guess short and sweet, not inconceivable that Triple Crown Colorado could finish first. Milanopoulos throws it away. And Hannah Gamble trots in with the 8th Triple Crown Colorado run. And now Tony Fode's going to come out, and I'm sure the message is going to be, young women, on this Pride Day at the Canada Cup, you have more than done yourselves proud. What a battle they have given this Triple Crown Colorado team this afternoon. And obviously we don't have a mic on them, but I would think that would be the message. What a great game Greece at 0-6 have given 5-1 Triple Crown Colorado. And I will always wonder what may have occurred if that call stayed the same after the first protest, the one by Fode that he won before Triple Crown Colorado head coach David King protested. The committee went to work again, and the original call of obstruction stayed as Sarah Gordon pace one just foul down the left field line. Well, it is certainly made for a memorable and entertaining Game 2 of 5 on the final day of the round robin at the Canada Cup. And it's been a fabulous week, and with the playoffs upcoming in this women's international division, the best, I believe, is yet to come. And Stavros with a changeup for a strike. So she gets ahead. Tough to come in that spot, and then on a 3-1 pitch gives up a grand slam to Aaron Koffel. And then a ground ball, tough play for the youngster Zoe Milanopoulos. Throws it wide of first, and it's also very difficult. Now, this is a very young Triple Crown Colorado team, but very experienced in terms of high-level competition. These are, in many cases, first-year stars coming out of their first and second years at major Division I programs. Gordon, another rope of a base hit. Throw from Pess, not in time. And the rally continues as Triple Crown Colorado has put up 6. And in fact, another base hit could end the game. Imagine going from where we were to in about half an hour, the 7-run rule differential coming into play. And that's a very real possibility. Is another pitching change for Team Greece as Chelsea Runyon will come into the game. Runyon has only pitched in 1 inning so far in the tournament. Gave up 5 runs on 4 hits, walked 2, and did not strike anyone out. Chelsea Runyon born in the year 2000. She's from Scrip Ranch, California. Has played collegiately at the University of Massachusetts Lowell. Played for Greece at last summer's European Championships, where she went 2-1. Struck out 18 and walked 2. Also participated for Team Greece at the 2018 U22 European Championship, where she actually threw a no-hitter in her first ever international game, and comes from an athletic family. Her sister plays water polo at George Washington University. Haley Morrow started the game at second, then moved behind home plate. And a base hit in the right spot here would end the game. Off Runyon, as Kate Karamoussis does well to collect that ball. Italy, 2-3. 1-5, Australia next. Before the showdown versus Japan and Canada. Japan is 6-0, Canada 5-1. In their first international meeting since Japan beat Canada 1-0 in 8 innings at the Olympic Games. Now, the Canadian roster has changed significantly since, especially in the pitching department. That day, Daniel Laurie pitched a marvelous game for Canada. Yukiko Ueno and then Miyugatu in relief allowed the Japanese to beat Canada in a round-robin game. 1-0 in 8. And a Canadian win there, and they would have had a chance to play for the gold medal. So it will be Canada's first crack at a, as always, powerhouse Japanese national team that's been on display this week. That's its 6th tonight as Runyon misses the strike zone against Haley Morrow, who's from Las Vegas, Nevada. She is 0 for 2 today with a sacrifice bunt. This will be foul. Greece trying to give itself at least one more at-bat in the game. They need an out in order to do it. A base hit for Morrow. If 2 runs come home, the game ends on the 7-run rule difference after a team has had 5 at-bats. If you're up by more than 10 after 3, it changes. And Olivia Pess is going to guarantee that Greece bats one more time. But after a very lengthy pair of protests that Triple Crown Colorado eventually found themselves on the right side of, they score 6 times and lead Greece 8-3. The 7th when we return to Softball City. Carlin Pickens, who entered the game a couple innings ago and has done a marvelous job once again for Triple Crown Colorado, the pitcher at the University of Tennessee from Weaverville, North Carolina, has slammed the door. Greece led 3-1. And in case you're just tuning in, 2 lengthy protests on a attempted steal. Obstruction was the call on shortstop Zoe Milanopoulos. After the Greek protest, it appeared that the inning was over and Greece was going to take a 3-2 lead to the top of the 7th inning. But then Triple Crown Colorado protest, the committee met again, and the original obstruction call remained intact. And what did Triple Crown Colorado do with that? They scored 6, including a tying triple off the bat of Jalia Lassiter and a grand slam off the bat of shortstop Aaron Koffel. And Julia Apostolakos, who pitched 5 2/3 today of marvelous softball from 43 feet away, and has driven in 2 of Team Greece's 3 runs, leading off against Carlin Pickens here in the 7th, who is upstairs with a changeup. And Pickens possesses an excellent change, as many of the top throwers in the sport do. Down low to Apostolakis, the two-time New Jersey Softball Player of the Year in high school, on her way to the University of Southern Florida in the fall. And she'll be a fine asset to that quality program in Tampa Bay. Great ballpark. I've had a couple of opportunities on hockey trip travel to make my way to that park and watch the University of South Florida play. In fact, the last time was a couple of years ago, and they were taking on Team Japan that was in the United States on a college trip. So that was a real treat. It's part of a Calgary Flames hockey trip, which had been my main job for a long, long time prior to this summer when I decided to step away. And Apostolakis starts the seventh by drawing a walk. Been a long, busy afternoon for catcher Kate Karamouzis. And there's a strike. At least I thought it was, until it wasn't. Now, head coach and Triple Crown Colorado founder, president, and head coach of this team, Dave King, is going to allow it would appear Kirsten Deal out of the University of Oklahoma, who started this game and was terrific before giving way to Nikki McGaffin, is warming up again. This game is like a tasty twist ice cream cone. There's been a lot of them. And oh, I could use a nice twist cone right about now. That would be yummy, yummy for the tummy. Karamouzis swings and misses. They're going to appeal this, I would think. And yes, it is a strike. Not been an easy day for the people in blue. Pickens misses inside, and the count to Karamouzis with one on and no one out in the top of the seventh. Greece trailing now by 5. They led this game 3-1 with 2 out in the bottom of the 6th. And back-to-back walks issued by Pickens. Might give Mr. King some thoughts about re-entering starting pitcher Kirsten Deal, who had 5 strikeouts. And a good swing, courtesy of leadoff batter today, Georgia Polidorus. She's been the number 2 hitter most of the week, certainly in the games that we have been a part of here. Change-up is strike 2. And yes, indeed, the North Carolinian possesses an excellent change of pace. It is hard in this day and age to get high-level hitters out without one. Carlin Pickens and the entire Triple Crown crew thought that was strike 3. Change up. Base hit. And this feisty Greek team will not go away. And the bases are loaded with nobody out. And now another meeting at the mound, this one internal without a coach. 2 walks and Apollodorus base hit. Well, regardless of how it ends, this will be, I'm guessing, the highlight of the week for Team Greece. Now, they certainly, with Apostolakos on the rubber, will have an opportunity to compete in their first playoff game come Saturday afternoon. Especially if she can put another gem together like the one she threw 4 5 2/3 innings today. And likely a date with either Italy or Mexico, as Greece will end up in the number 8 spot at the conclusion of the round robin and play the 5th place finisher. Israel 3-4. Mexico can get to 3-4. We could have actually a 3-way tie for the all-important 4th playoff position, because if you finish in the top 4, you have 2 lives going into the playoffs, not single elimination, as the teams finishing 5 through 8. Now, Italy, even though they're 2 and 3, control their own destiny in the fight for 4th. Is Zoe Stavros staying alive on the full count foul back. Italy will play 1-5 Australia development team next, and then a showdown potentially for 4th place against Mexico. And Carlin Pickens has walked in a run. And it's 8-4 with no one out, and the base is loaded. And you do not want to make a mistake with Brianna Nakaza. For me, if there is one batter in this Greek lineup that could hurt you with an extra base knock, it's Nakaza, who showed that with an RBI double against Japan a couple of evenings ago. Can you imagine if she sailed this out of the park? This might be Carlin Pickens' last batter. And I'm guessing it will be if she can't get an out. Triple Crown Colorado, lots to play with. They have a 4-run lead as Nakaza took a mighty cut a little behind the high rise from Pickens and fouled it down the left field, the third base side. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Chicago, Illinois' Brianna Nakaza. Change up, down low. Evens the count. Pickens has a couple of strikeouts since entering the game. She'd love one here. And Nakaza stays alive off the end of the bat. the strikeout as University of Illinois' Brianna Nikaza goes down swinging for the first out of inning number 7. And that's a big one. 1 run in. Are we going to have a pinch hitter here? I bet. No. We're going to see a pinch runner. We have yet to see Molly Colander in the game today. Hope she wasn't hurt in the game against Italy. She's been their leadoff batter the majority of the week. Sydney Scapin comes in to run for Stavros over at first. Nice crowd. And it will be a big one, I'm guessing, for the slated for 6 o'clock matchup between 6-0 Japan and 5-1 Canada as Maria Zepeda stays in to hit. She was hit by a pitch and scored in the 3-run Greek 4th inning, which gave them a 3-1 advantage up until the protests and the 6 runs that followed. 2 protests. And changes, possibly. Well, this one is not going to win an award for the shortest contest in women's international softball history. We're closing in on the 3-hour mark since the first pitch. Zepeda, bases loaded, 1 out, and into the dirt, and handled well by catcher Haley Morrow. A base hit right now would make things awfully interesting. Change up. 2 balls and a strike to Maria Zepeda. And a hit batter. And the score is 8-5. And more importantly, hoping Zepeda, who's now been hit twice in the game by pitches, is all right. And Greece has scored twice. And now, I bet Kirsten Deal is going to come back in. No change yet. Pickens has walked a couple, hit a batter, given up a base hit to Georgia Polidorus, and it's 8-5. And now the tying run is at third. And a go-ahead potential winning run is at home plate. And this, I think, now is going to be Colander into run. It is. The braided hair and the number 7. So Molly Colander comes in to run. And we are going to get a pitching change. So I'm going to take a quick break. Kirsten Deal started the game and was excellent. She's going to try to, and I can't help myself, finish the deal when we come back shortly. It's 8-5 Triple Crown Colorado as the drone, Donnie Drone, is at work here this afternoon at Softball City.
Now running at first base for Team Greece, number 7, Holly Collender. De retour au monticule, re-entering the game on the mound, Vivelo, number 11, Kirsten Deal. Le match de 15h30 est retardé. The 3:30 p.m. game between Team Italy and Australia has been delayed.
Or went 3 2/3, gave up credited. I'm not even going to touch it. Credited, at least on my stats, for giving up 1 hit, 2 runs, struck out 6, walked 1. Bases loaded to Olivia Pess, who did deliver the lone hit that she gave up. It is now 8-5 after 2 protests. It was 3-2 Greece. Looked like the 6th was over, and Kirsten Deal has her 7th strikeout by the box score that I'm looking at in the game. So Greece down to their last out as Shan McDonald and Tony Foti, Shan coach for 17 years at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, where she is in their Softball Hall of Fame. Retired now. Longtime teacher, coach. Coached China at the 2008 Summer Olympics. Zoe Milanopoulos against Kirsten Deal of the University of Oklahoma, who has re-entered the game in the 7th, looking to close it out. And the number 1 rated prospect in all the United States in the high school class of 2022 looks to end the game and throws a dynamite changeup for strike 2. So Greece up 3-1, 3-2 on the wrong end of 2 protests, down to their last strike. That did not miss the mark by very much. Zoe Milanopoulos, just 18. Swings and misses. And in a game I will not forget for quite some time. Too long to recap. 0-6 Greece, push 5-1 Triple Crown Colorado to the brink. And had it not been for winning a second of 2 protests, who knows what might have happened. I do know this. It's time to make this game come to an end and pave the way for our next one. Triple Crown Colorado finishes the round robin at 6-1. Greece at 0-7. But what a performance by this young Greek team who will get ready for an afternoon playoff game while Triple Crown Colorado await their seeding and the result of Canada and Japan, slated now for a little later than 6, it would appear, but one never knows. Italy, Australia, up next. Thanks for joining us. My name is Peter Lubardius. So long for now from Softball City.
For the latest in softball innovation, the website where you can experience the best tournaments in the Americas. Live games, news, tournaments, and much, much more. The best quality live softball, on demand so you can watch when you want. Become a Premier member now. SoftballPremierTV.com. Live it on Softball Premier.